Okay, so when you get done casting both halves of your mold and you've let them dry, you're going to want to let them set for 20 minutes before you try to take them out of the frame, and you might want to wait an hour. You're not going to want to cast with these for 24 hours because there's still a lot of moisture in the plaster, and if you try to cast molten metal into these wet plaster molds, they're going to crack and break. So what you'll end up with is you have two halves here, and you're going to have to use your knife to kind of separate them apart a little bit and crack them open. You'll notice that this one I used yellow Play-Doh, and I got a little overzealous on the corners and kind of jacked them up. I could sand these down a little bit, make it look a little prettier, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is what's inside. So you break them open, and you'll see that where I stuck my marbles, I pulled my marbles out on the second cast so that I had these little indentions, and then when I poured the plaster on the top, it made these little nipples so that whenever I put these two together, they're going to line up. Now you're going to want to decide where you want to fill your mold in with your metal, and find that spot and take a pen or a pencil and draw a line to the edge of your cast. Put them together, and you can either cut them with a knife or something, or you can drill down into them with a small drill and then make a little funnel. What I used was this that I had shown earlier. This is a stepper bit. You can get this in the electrician's aisle of like Lowe's or Home Depot or something. And I just drilled down until I hit the tip, and I opened it up and I checked it to make sure I was doing it right, and then I go a little bit deeper, and I open it up and go a little deeper until I finally got down to where I could actually pour my metal into the hole. So the next step you want to do is, you can notice that they're black. You're going to want to prep these. Now they do have this stuff online called separating powder that you can use, but the old school way, the old cheap way, is to get yourself a candle and a lighter, and you light your candle and you hold your cast up against the candle and get this lamp black onto your mold, and make sure you get it all nice and black around all your details, and this will keep the metal from sticking to your mold, and it'll let it separate easier. And so you get it all nice and black, real thorough like. See, it's really black. And you do the same to your other side. This is going a lot faster than the first time I tried it. I guess it depends on what kind of candle you use. Okay. There we go, nice and black. I'm going to stick my molds together. I'm going to take my thin pieces of wood and set them on either side. This is going to dissipate the pressure of my C-clamp so that I'm not clamping directly onto the plaster in a really small space, or I'll crack it. So this is going to dispense the weight, and you just want it finger tight. You don't have to get crazy with it, just enough to hold it. Then I'm going to take my other clamp and I'm going to tap on the mold while I'm pouring my casting material so I can get any air bubbles out. So let me check my metal. And I'll be right back with that. Okay, so we got our metal nice and melted. The melting temperature of the stuff that I'm using right now is around 420 degrees. So it's nice and molten. I'm going to put on some gloves so I can handle my casting pot. I'm going to put some eye protection on. And I'm going to take my fork, and you can like speed up the melting process by playing with it and stirring it. Now you're going to get some impurities on the top of your metal, so you're going to want to scrape those off with your fork and kind of tap them to the side so that you don't get any of that crud or crap in your final cast. So, come on. So now I've got a nice, clean thing. Also, if you don't have C-clamps, you can also use these kind of clamps here to clamp your cast together. Maybe a little bigger than this or something, but you can use something like this, just whatever you got on hand. I'm going to use my other clamp. I'm going to tap it. Now, the most important thing with pouring this is you got to make the pour in one shot. Don't try to pour it a little bit and then stop and pour it again, because you're not going to get a good cast, because it's going to cool down in different stages and it's going to block your little hole and all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you've got it nice and liquidy, and it's more important to pour it in one pour than to tap on it. So here we go. Okay, and then we're going to let that cool down for about 5 minutes. And if you don't get this right the first time and it looks like crap, don't worry. All you got to do is just take it and throw it back in your smelter and try it again. If you're getting like incomplete air bubbles, try to make a few more air vents for your air to escape. Or you may have to drill your funnel hole in a different area so you get better coverage. Don't forget to taste a little bit of your Play-Doh for old time's sake. Let's see. Oh, it tastes a lot worse than I remember. I used to eat this stuff all the time in kindergarten. Yeah. I don't see how we ate that stuff when we were kids. I'm going to undo my clamp. I'm going to separate it very carefully. And there we go. There's our ship. Now you'll see that there's some stuff down here that's not part of the ship. All we got to do is take our nippers and clip off any of the flashing around the ship. So, I also made another one here. Here's one that came out. All you have to do is paint these up and go ahead and use them. This is especially useful for like Warhammer. I know I don't really play Warhammer because I don't have like a zillion dollars to spend on that kind of stuff. But if you do play Warhammer and you want to build up your army, this is a perfect way to do it. You can also, like I'm doing Star Wars, or if you're into tin soldiers like Civil War or World War II soldiers, or if you want to take some plastic army men, the little green ones, and change them into metal army men and paint them up and make them a lot nicer, this is a good way to do this. I hope everybody had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And let me know if you have any questions and put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Thanks a lot. It didn't cast correctly on this one. No. But it did make it pretty good. Oh, now it makes a funky looking spaceship, like all round and stuff. One step I did forget is, you see how it's black on the inside? I forgot that stuff. I'm going to have to do this over. Where's my thing?